YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
Right there, Iran has released a shocking AI-generated video depicting a missile destroying the Statue of Liberty with the head of the ancient deity Baal. The clip portrays the U.S. as a global enemy, touching on various wars and the Epstein scandal, before ending with the chilling slogan, "One vengeance for all." Lego-themed Iranian propaganda videos are also going viral. Experts warn these deep fakes are calculated propaganda designed to influence Americans.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Hard not to laugh. Calculated propaganda designed to influence Americans, right? Well, isn't that what the news in general actually is, lady? Well, you would know. You're from the Tavistock Institute, so of course you know exactly what you're doing. The news in general is calculated propaganda. But I had to do a video on some of these AI videos being released by Iran that are directed towards America because they're hysterical. Because if you actually start thinking in terms of common sense, of war and war tactics, it shows you that all this is psychological. This is governments around the world trying to convince you that countries are at war with one another. But what really is taking place is countries themselves are sabotaging their own civilians' way of life. They're allowing countries to bomb, blow up, and destroy civilians' lives. In Iran, you don't think that the leaders of Iran are in bed with Netanyahu and Israel? Of course, the leaders are. Now, the people in Iran obviously are very much against the synagogue of Satan and Israel, or of Israel, is what we really should just start calling them, the synagogue of Satan of Israel. But if those same civilians found out that their leaders were allowing the genocide to occur, allowing Israel to come in and do the things that they're doing, and their own military was actually in on it, well, of course, there would be a human uprising, a civilian uprising against government. So what we are seeing now has never been done before. Because during wars, all we would see on the news are tanks and missiles in the air, and we're told that this country is at war with this country. Oh, the Gulf War, the Vietnam War. Now we're seeing a psychological war. And what they're doing is they're putting out all of these types of videos, just like the IDF did. They've been doing it for a couple of years now. The Israel Defense Forces put these green screen videos out to convince you that they're doing this, they're raiding a tunnel, they're going there, showing you things that no military would ever show civilians. Why would they ever need to show civilians? And why on earth would they ever reveal these things to civilians? They're revealing locations of where they're going, locations of where they've been. They're revealing blueprints of what the plans of the future are. These are not acts of war. It's like a video game that we're watching. And people are under such mind control that they think that this stuff is actually real. They think that, the IDF here's the plans that they have for ISIS, and here's the plans that they have for Hamas. And look, here's the plans Iran has for the United States of America. And here's what and they believe it because they're so indoctrinated with media and video games and all that stuff. It's become a reality to them. So they don't even need to make real good propaganda. They're using AI-generated propaganda. Literally, they're showing you Lego toys. I kid you not. As you saw on the news, they're showing you Legos of Trump and Netanyahu and Satan sitting at a table looking at a book that has to do with Epstein. Again, using Epstein, government-created this is nothing more than a government-created psyop. Does not mean the people who are listed on these lists or that Netanyahu or that Trump or that Epstein himself aren't involved in these sexual pedo rings. Of course they are. This is a massive network. All of these people in power are involved in it. But you would never know who Jeffrey Epstein was if the government didn't want you to know who he was. If he had all this information on all these different people, he would have been Jimmy Hoffa overnight. You never would have known who he was in the first place. They feed you this stuff. They feed you these emails. They feed you these leaks. They give it to you little by little so that you could break it down or go to your favorite controlled influencer or brain dead influencer who will then reread the stuff that the government's feeding you. And say, look whose names are on the list. It's Tom Hanks. It's this person. Well, yeah, those people are definitely pedophiles. I have no doubt about it. We've all exposed these people. I've been exposing all of these things for a long period of time, way before the Epstein files, going back, like I've said, to McMartin, and even before then. We all know that they're involved in these rings. The difference is that the government is giving you this stuff. If they didn't want you to know who Epstein was, if they didn't want you to know names on lists, they wouldn't tell you. This is about sabotage. And eventually, this is going to bring down the government and bring in AI governance. Because once all this stuff continues to get revealed and they tell you that so-and-so is on a list, a Republican, a Democrat, everybody's compromised in Congress, guess what? The resolutions could be, we can't trust humans anymore. And we need to be governed through artificial intelligence because humans are racist, humans are pedophiles, humans are this, humans are that. We need something that's fair, right? Remember all those words that we hear from the United Nations and the World Economic Forum about equality. We need something that's all about equality. There's no judgment whatsoever. Artificial intelligence, technology, right? Meanwhile, all of that technology will be programmed against us. So some of the stuff out there is showing you, again, Lego figures. So we're supposed to believe that the military in Iran has, they always show us them looking like, they're living in tents and they're living in caves. They're making AI generated videos that they're putting on Twitter and on YouTube for the world to see because they care so much, right? About what the rest of the world thinks about them. This is to psychologically convince you that the governments are at war with one another. That's what this is for, when they're really just at war with their own people. They've turned on their people. They are all completely compromised. They have all committed treason against their own countries. And this is why and how we will see a new world order brought in. But we're supposed to believe that Iran is, hey, they're making, they sat in a room and they said, let's put some videos out there so that we don't look like the bad guy, as if they care, number one. Then they go, well, let's do AI. Right? They're so, they're supposedly so, strict in their belief system. No, they're going to make AI videos. And they're like, hey, somebody just came with the idea. They're like, how about we do it with Lego guys? Yeah. And they're all in the room. Yeah, let's do it with Lego guys. We have a Lego Trump. It's ridiculous. But this plays into the mind of the plebeians in America, or the dumbed down sheeple in America who think that the government in Iran would actually release this as if they care about the perspective of Americans on Iran, right? And what does it do? Well, it causes more division in America because we have pro-Palestine, we have pro-Israel. This is all part of the game. And then, of course, they bring Epstein into the whole thing, showing you the kids holding up the Epstein files, showing you a little girl on the island, the famous picture of the temple on Epstein Island. Nobody looks underground. Everybody looks above ground. And if you're dumb enough to actually believe that all of these people, all of these celebrities would fly into an island that you could openly see if you drove a boat by and they're committing these acts in a little temple on an island above ground, then you need to really, really slap yourself in the face and wake up. Because all of this stuff is done underground. Your tax money for a long period of time has built an underground world. There's underground tunnels, networks, highway systems under our feet where all this occurs. That's how these kids vanish off the face of the earth. You can't vanish off the face of the earth anymore, okay? Trust me, I've tried. I think I'm as close as I could get now, but you really can't vanish off the face of the earth, right? There's cameras on every street corner. There's somehow, you've seen these true crime shows, how they find people when they're lost. The stuff, some of the stuff out there about people going missing, it's comical because you couldn't go missing if you wanted to go missing. And the amount of children that go missing, it's impossible to actually occur, to have no trace or track on them, where pretty much every kid has some type of technology on them that has GPS tracking in it. It's all occurring underground. They want you to think it's occurring above ground. You'll never hear, ever, in the mainstream media any truth. So anything you hear about Epstein, you should think, well, okay, there are pedophiles, they're doing this stuff, but the stories that they're feeding me aren't real. Like how he didn't hang himself. They killed him. Because he was going to reveal more secrets. I mean, they just get baited in and baited in and baited in, right? And now we have the Iran government putting propaganda out there that constantly includes Epstein. Why? Well, to bring in all of the sheeple who believe in all of these government psyops. Now, I'm going to play for you these just two of the clips because I found them to be the most hilarious, including them blowing up the statue of Baal, which again, the Statue of Liberty depicted as Baal, which is great. It's wonderful to see Baal destroyed. But the whole thing is just a charade. If you believe that during a supposed war where the United States, Israel, and Iran are going after one another, that on their agenda checklist is to make AI-generated videos to put on Twitter for the world to see, to make you look like a good guy versus a bad guy. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. This is out there because this is psychological war, and this is to pull you in deeper. So the narratives are one vengeance for all. Take a look at this. And again, what's the common theme here, right? America is killing children. Trump got burning in hell, right? What were some of the things we saw in remembrance of the students from Manab who were martyred at the hands of Zionist and American terrorists, right? They have the viewpoint of the West are all terrorists now, right? They show you that missile coming towards America, probably predictive programming. And again, if there's any attack on American soil, you can guarantee that it'll be the United States and Israel doing it just like they did on that 11th day of September. You see other things in there, and the wrongdoers will soon know what fate awaits them, and one vengeance for all, which was written on the missiles. Does that remind you of something? How about that movie I recently covered a couple of years ago? Everybody heard it at the time about the movie, right? Leave the World Behind. It was very popular. Everybody checked it out for the most part, at least heard about it, right? Remember that when they dropped the pamphlets from the sky? What did the pamphlets say? Death to America, right? And it sounds awfully similar because it's scripted, right? And of course, who was one of the people who gave notes and helped write the script for Leave the World Behind? Well, it was your former supposed elected president, Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, who let the filmmakers know exactly how things were going to play out, right? They said, hey, we wanted to show you this script. This is the supposed story. We want to show you the script. How do you think it, does it look like it's realistic? And he gave extra notes to say, well, this is how it's going to play out, right? And it plays out with, grid shutdowns, order out of chaos, right? Technology, EMPs, all that type of stuff. So again, in the clips we saw a missile heading towards America that said vengeance for all. America depicted, of course, as the enemy of humanity. The missile goes towards the Statue of Liberty, which, again, should be a wake-up call for the MAGA people out there who are all into patriotism, who are all completely clueless, who think somehow the Bible has to do in a positive way with America, that God is with America. He's not with any other country. God, America. And God. Yeah, well, the only reference I see in the Bible to America is likely Babylon. So let's not mix this nationalism nonsense with Jesus Christ and God, okay? But they do, because of course they're ministers, they're preachers, all these guys, all these new churches, this new age wave, or these churches that are like going to concerts. It's nauseating. I can't even get into it. These churches where you go there and they got guitars. They're more interested in putting on a concert than reading the word, which I mean is absolutely ludicrous. And then they bring in politics, right? They bring in politics. They bring in Israel. As Israel, we have to do whatever. Israel's God's chosen people. He's against Israel's against God, right? No idea, no concept of actual history of 1948 and the creation of Israel as the state of Israel. None of that stuff, right? So they get brainwashed and all this stuff. They think the Statue of Liberty actually represents America. It represents freedom, right? The Statue of Liberty is supposed to be a depiction of libertas, right? But obviously, it's not. And now, there's many people that believe the Statue of Liberty is Isis, and others believe that it's Ishtar, but it is pagan in its origins. Some believe it's actually a statue of the whore of Babylon herself, right? But really, the origins link towards Isis, the goddess Isis. And this goes back, of course, to Freemasonry, right? The statue was created by a man named Bartholdi, who proposed a giant statue of Isis, a robed woman with a torch, for the canal in Egypt, and that never happened. And of course, it got moved and brought into the United States of America, part of the great American experiment, as they tell us, right? Because that's what this country is. It's an experiment. This place is nothing more than mystery. I mean, this place is filled with nothing but hidden Egyptian things right in front of our faces, which aren't so hidden, right? From the obelisks to all the other monuments and stuff that they tell us have to do with America, like the Statue of Liberty. And of course, this goes back to Freemasonry, right? Bartholdi, the creator of the statue of Freemasons had everything to do with laying the foundations of bringing it in. The cornerstone was laid in a Masonic ceremony when it was put and placed in America. You can go to the Scottish Rites website, the Masonic Legacy of Lady Liberty. Even other lodges have laying the cornerstone of the Statue of Liberty. The Masons brag about the fact that they're directly connected to the Statue of Liberty, the creation of the Statue of Liberty, and the Statue of Liberty being erected here in the United States of America. But it has nothing to do with liberty, and it has everything to do with pagan god worship. So, in a sense, it's pretty funny to see them depict Baal as the Statue of Liberty and actually blow it up. Of course, I'm in agreement with any type of idol of Baal being destroyed on the spot. But of course, if you say that this day and age, that's considered hate speech or some type of inciting violence or whatnot. But this is AI generated, so I guess we can say that. So we're supposed to believe that during this conflict, when children are being killed, that the government in Iran wanted to put this out because they want the perspective of Americans to be, hey, we're not the bad guy here. It's Israel, right? And then feeds right into everything in America, which is all about division right now, right? Keeping us fully divided so we're not paying attention to what the government's doing with the data centers and bringing in AI governance and bringing in digital ID, right? Keeping us fully distracted between the left and the right. And if you're in the left, you're supposed to side with Palestine. If you're in the right, you're supposed to side with Israel. The irony of it all is that Christians are actually siding with the synagogue of Satan referenced in the book of Revelation. But if you use common sense and you think about these things, you say to yourself, you should just stand back and you should say, okay, there's supposedly a war going on. This is what I said during all the stuff when it first happened in Israel with the IDF and their YouTube channel. If there's a war going on, Is there a commander-in-chief of YouTube, of social media, right? There's supposedly we're supposed to, so there's a guy who's in charge of the social media account of the IDF for Israel. There's a guy in charge of the social media account on Twitter, on YouTube for Iran's military, whether it's whatever CIA created facade it is, because we all know that all these groups, Hamas, ISIS, they're all created from the Mossad. They're all created from the CIA, which is one and the same. Right? We're supposed to believe that somebody was hired, they qualified for that job. They're just in there and they're like, okay, well, the commander comes in. He's like, hey, we got to get videos out there because we don't want to look like the victim to Americans because we care so much about what Americans think of us. So we got to put something out there, right? So we'll make Trump look like the bad guy. He's like, okay, right. And he's like, hey, what about Legos? Americans love Legos, right? Oh, yeah, let's do an AI generated. Let me get over to Grok on X and I'll make a little short 30-second video, right? And I'll edit it and I'll put it out there. There's supposedly a war going on, right? Yeah, there is a war. The war's on your mind, which is why they need and put these propaganda pieces out there for you psychologically, because they know society's so dumbed down that you're going to believe it. And it's just like the stuff with the IDF when they put all this stuff out there. They're showing and the same with Ukraine, right? We were told that Zelensky was going to be killed. They're looking for Zelensky. We better watch out, please. Zelensky's got to be underground. Putin's looking for him. They're going to drop a missile. The second they see him, they're going to kill him. He's literally out in the streets with U2. He's got Ben Stiller standing with him, Sean Penn walking the streets, being filmed. So when do you think Russia would say, hey, look, turn on the TV. He's walking the streets. How are we missing him? He's out in the streets, getting filmed for 60 minutes and showing up at the Grammys. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then we're told, oh, they're trying to kill him though, right? Right. Oh, and the same with the IDF. Oh man, there's this war going on over there. Meanwhile, they're showing you, hey, look, we just invaded a tunnel in Hamas, their secret tunnel. Let's show you. Get a camcorder, put it on YouTube for everybody to see. Right? So you get it? They're showing you it because they want you to believe that there's a war going on between two countries, and there's not. The only war that's going on is the war that's been waged on the civilians. And at this point, it's more psychological than anything else. But we do know that there's genocide being committed around the world on the people. And eventually that's coming to the United States of America. And they show you that too in the video, right? Vengeance for all against who? Who's the big bad villain? Well, big old America, right? We're all getting set up and people are falling for it hook, line, and sinker. I thought it was hilarious. I had to do a video on it. The fact that we're seeing countries during war with YouTube channels. It made me laugh the first time with the IDF. This is even more ridiculous to think that Iran is putting out AI-generated Lego videos because they care so much with how people view them here in America. Huh? Since when do they care? Supposedly they all hate Americans, which makes sense. But they hate Americans. Oh, but they want to make sure that there's Americans that realize that they're not the bad guy here. It's Netanyahu. I mean, give me a break. This is to just continue to divide and psychologically manipulate the American civilians because it's that easy to dupe Americans. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.